I woke up to silence, the kind that makes your skin crawl. Our entire village, usually alive with the hum of tech, was dead quiet. The air buzzed like static, and I swear, it wasn't just the machines acting strange. Something felt off. 2 days ago, we heard about a tribe deep in the mountains, rumored to have tech more advanced than ours. We didn't believe it at first. Our village was known for its innovation, mixing our ancient ways with technology. But then, strange things started happening. It began with our water purification systems, state of the art, never malfunctioned before. Suddenly, the water turned black, thick like tar. Our elders said it was a sign, but they didn't explain. They just looked scared. They're never scared. I remember the first person who vanished. His name was Mwangi, one of the engineers. He went to investigate the water source with a team. They were armed with drones, scanners, everything. They should have been back in hours, but only Mwangi's drone returned, footage scrambled and haunting. There was this figure, blurred out, but too clear to ignore. It looked like a man, tall, but something wasn't right. The eyes, they glowed, not like our tech, but like it was alive. After that, more people disappeared. No signs of struggle, no warning. They just vanished. We tried sending messages to other tribes, but our communication systems were jammed. Even the sky drones couldn't break through. On the third night, it happened. I was with a few others on night patrol, armed with plasma rifles, infrared goggles, the best gear we had. The forest around us was pitch black, silent, not even the usual insect buzz. Then, out of nowhere, a low hum filled the air. At first, I thought it was our systems booting up, but it was too deep, too organic. We spotted it then. A figure standing at the edge of the trees. Tall, unmoving, glowing eyes fixed on us. My heart raced, my hands shook, but I raised my rifle. The others did too. We fired. Nothing. The plasma bolts passed right through it like it wasn't even there, and then it moved. Fast. Too fast. One by one, the others fell, their screams cutting short as the figure reached them. I froze, fear locking my body in place. It didn't kill me though. It stopped right in front of me, those glowing eyes staring into mine. It whispered something, a language I didn't understand, but it felt like a warning. Then it disappeared, like it was never there. I ran back to the village. No one believed me at first. Not until they saw the footage. The figure. The way it moved. The way our weapons did nothing. That's when things really got worse. The elders called an emergency council meeting. They revealed something they'd kept hidden for generations. Our tech, the energy that powers everything, the drones, the shields, even the lights, wasn't fully ours. It had been gifted to us by them, the mountain tribe. Long ago, they approached our ancestors with promises of progress. But there was a price. Our elders had agreed to a pact, one that bound our future generations to their control. We had thrived for years, but now the debt was being collected. Suddenly, it made sense. The glitches, the black water, the disappearances. They weren't random. The mountain tribe was calling in their favor, and if we didn't comply, they'd take everything back. The tech, our way of life, even our lives. Desperate, we tried to contact the mountain tribe. We sent our strongest warriors, armed with the best tech, but only one returned. His face was twisted with terror, his body covered in strange glowing marks. He didn't speak, only screamed. Over and over, and those marks. They weren't just burns. They moved. They pulsed like they were alive, spreading across his skin until he collapsed and disintegrated right in front of us. Now, no one leaves the village after dark. Every night, we hear the hum, the The same one I heard in the forest. It's closer now. Louder. The ground shakes, and sometimes you can see shadows moving just outside the barrier. But it's worse than that. One of our engineers, Amina, found something in the drone footage. She enhanced the image of the figure, and when she cleared the blur, what she saw made my blood run cold. It wasn't a stranger. It wasn't some ancient being. It was Mwangi. His eyes, once dark and human, were now glowing, just like the thing that had stalked us. The marks on his skin matched the glowing patterns we had seen on the other warrior's body before he died. Mwangi was no longer missing. He was becoming something else. Whatever the mountain tribe had done, they weren't just taking people. They were changing them, turning them into something powerful, unstoppable. And now, we're next. The humming has started again, louder than ever. I can feel the vibrations through the floor. I don't know how much longer we have before they come for the rest of us. Their humming is relentless now. It shakes the walls, rattles the glass, and fills the air with a charge that makes your skin tingle. People are panicking. We've shut down most of the systems to conserve power, but it doesn't matter. We know what's coming. The elders have gone silent, locked away in the council chambers. There's no plan, no escape. The once bustling tech hub of our village, where we controlled machines with the flick of a hand and communicated across miles in seconds, feels powerless, useless. Amina, the engineer who enhanced the drone footage, approached me earlier. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, her hands trembling. She said she'd been analyzing more of the footage, trying to find a weakness in the tech, something we could use, but what she found was worse. "They're already inside," she whispered. I didn't understand at first, but then she showed me the footage. It was from one of the surveillance drones flying over the village. At first, everything looked normal, just the usual patrols, the shields, the watchtowers. But then, in the shadows, just beyond the last barrier, there were figures, dozens of them, moving silently, blending with the darkness. And their eyes, they glowed, just like Mwangi's. "They've been here for days," Amina said, her voice shaking, "watching us, waiting." The footage zoomed in on one of the figures. It was wearing one of our patrol uniforms. I recognized the face, Kioni, another one of the engineers who'd gone missing. He too had been changed, just like Mwangi. The marks on his skin glowed faintly in the darkness, spreading slowly, like veins of light. "They're not just coming for us," Amina said, almost in a whisper. "They're turning us into them, slowly." Panic rose in my chest. How long had they been here? How many of us had already been changed? I looked around the village, at the people I'd grown up with, shared meals with. Were some of them already gone? That night, I couldn't sleep. The humming was louder, more insistent. I sat with Amina, watching the surveillance footage, trying to keep track of the glowing figures. But they moved fast, disappearing and reappearing like shadows. Then, around midnight, the lights flickered. Not just in my house, but everywhere. The entire village was plunged into darkness, except for the faint glow of the marks on the horizon, like fireflies in the distance. I grabbed my rifle, though deep down, I knew it wouldn't help. Amina was already at the door, panic in her eyes. "The power's failing," she said. "They've breached the grid." We ran to the control center, but by the time we got there, the screens were dark, the systems offline. The hum had grown deafening now, vibrating through the ground like a heartbeat. And then I saw them. Shadows moving at the edge of the village, glowing eyes flickering in the darkness. "They're here," I whispered. The few of us left gathered at the village center, weapons in hand. But the tech didn't matter. Plasma rifles, drones, infrared. They were useless now. The figures were everywhere, slipping through the shadows, moving too fast to track. Every now and then, you'd catch a glimpse of a familiar face, someone who had disappeared days ago, now changed, glowing with that eerie light. And then Mwangi stepped forward. He wasn't the same person. His eyes blazed, and the glowing marks on his skin pulsed like they were alive, like they had their own heartbeat. He looked at us. No, through us. "We warned you," he said, his voice low, but it echoed through the night like thunder. "The pact has been broken." Behind him, the others moved closer. Kioni, the missing warriors, the villagers who had vanished without a trace. All of them were there, glowing, transformed. "We didn't choose this," I shouted back, fear tightening my throat. "Our ancestors did." Mwangi's glowing eyes locked onto mine. "The pact was never with them. It's with the land, the energy. You took it. You built with it. Now, it's time to give it back." Before I could react, Amina screamed. One of the figures had grabbed her, the glowing marks spreading from its hand to her arm, lighting up her veins like fire. She struggled, but there was no escape. The glow spread faster, crawling up her neck, her face. And then, just like that, she was one of them. I backed away, heart pounding, but there was nowhere to go. The village was surrounded, and I could feel the energy pulsing through the ground, pulling me in. I could see it now, the marks spreading across the earth like roots, creeping toward me. This wasn't just about technology. It was deeper than that. The land itself, the energy we had harnessed for so long, was waking up. And it wanted us, our bodies, our minds, our souls. I looked around at what was left of our village, at the glowing figures closing in, at the elders who had failed us. The hum grew louder, a deafening roar now. My skin tingled, the hair on my arms standing on.